My name is Lynn Tredeau, and I am from just a small community outside of Boise, Idaho right now. I play the piano. That is my instrument of choice for doing my recordings. I got into playing the piano. It was my first instrument that I learned to play, and I started playing when I was about 6. And I had been pestering my parents to get me a piano, and they kept telling me we didn't have room for it in the house. And finally one day, right around my birthday when I was turning 6, the phone rang and I answered it, and it was the delivery man making arrangements for the surprise for me to get my piano for my birthday. And so I ruined the surprise, but that is then from there, I began taking lessons and have continued to play all my life. I actually do not have any family members that play an instrument at all. No cousins. None of my brother doesn't. My parents didn't. I was the only one in my family that does anything musical at all. Well, I met Sherry through One World Music Radio, and they had told her a little bit about me, and she contacted me back, I would say probably about a year and a half ago. She contacted me and asked if I would send her my CDs so that she could add them to her radio station. And then about a year ago, I was finishing my 3rd album and had decided that I might be interested in doing some radio promotions. And so I happened to be watching one of her concert window broadcasts, and she contacted me after that, and she asked me if I might be interested in radio promos, and I said, as a matter of fact, I'm quite interested in doing that. And we just kind of got our conversation going from there, and she ended up doing radio promotions for my 3rd album. And then over this last year, as we've gotten to know each other more and more, it was definitely something I've enjoyed working with Sherry so incredibly much that the decision was made for me to really get more involved with Heart Dance Records. Well, before 2015, I was teaching piano. I had a very successful studio just outside of Seattle, Washington, and had been teaching for about 15, 16 years at that point. And my husband decided that he wanted to retire from electrical engineering, and we decided that I would close my teaching studio and I would put together the rest of an album. And we moved my piano and all of our household belongings to Boise, Idaho, just outside of Boise, and began doing recordings. This has been just such an amazing journey for me. I had decided that I was going to close my teaching studio and decided to try my hand at composing. And just kind of as I got started, this was not really where I thought I would end up with everything until I became affiliated with One World Music Radio, and from there things have just kind of blossomed beautifully. I'm on my 4th album in a little less than 2 years, and so it has been a very welcome but a very surprising turn of events for my life, because I have been just doing this really for a very short amount of time, and it's incredible. It's so rewarding to have my music being enjoyed by so many people all over the world. And Michele McLaughlin's music is just so incredibly, I love the lyrical nature of it. I really just loved the emotion that she very much communicates with her music. And it very much struck me as I was first being introduced to it many years ago, that it just was this very different. It has a very classical edge to it, and yet it definitely carries that beautiful new age contemporary instrumental sound that is so unique to Michele McLaughlin. I mean, to this day, if I hear a new piece of hers that I've never heard before, which it's getting to be less and less that I haven't heard before, I will stop and I will turn and say to myself, this has got to be Michele's piece. She has a very distinctive, lovely tone to her music and a very lovely style to it. And yeah, that was when I really decided that I was inspired to want to try to do something in a composition. Well, after I had become a huge fan of hers and I began buying her sheet music and really wanting to listen to everything that she had put out, being a huge fan of hers, and we moved to Boise, that 2 months or so after we moved to Boise, there was an opportunity to see her in concert. She was actually coming through Idaho on one of her rare appearances here in the state of Idaho. So I bought tickets and we went to her concert here. And so that was when I first got to meet her, and we had a chance to chat for a little while. I told her that I was beginning to write music, and she said to me, I hope someday I'll have an opportunity to hear some of your music. Well, lo and behold, now it's been 2.5 years later, and I have had a chance to meet her a couple of other times, and we've developed a bit of a professional relationship, and I hope a friendship. And she invited me to come down to her home in Utah to do a performance with her, and I'm incredibly thrilled, as you could probably imagine. My style, I try to draw from a large selection of different artists, but I find that my style tends to kind of move around a little bit. Sometimes it'll be very strong into a melody, and other times I'll be trying to pull in a lot more rhythmic elements to it. My early training was very much strong into classical music, and I do find that I will draw on that quite a bit, but I've been really trying to pull in a little bit more some jazz influences, but yet still trying to stay much more with a strong melody and a very lyrical style. Oh, music is incredibly important. I mean, for most people, we really mark the milestones of our life based upon some type of music, whether it is a country western song or it's a new age contemporary instrumental song. We remember, it just becomes so embedded in our memories of where we were, who we were with, whenever we hear our favorite song. And whatever the style of music is that people enjoy, they always are using it as that page marker of their life. And music it's a stress reliever. Again, no matter what type of music, whatever style or genre of music a person enjoys, it really tends to reduce stress. It lowers your blood pressure. It just puts you in a much better mood. So I think it's so important for everybody to have some form of music in their life, and especially as a teacher of music, a past teacher of music, I found that music really brought a sense of accomplishment for my students, and it helped them with their math skills and their language skills, and the list goes on and on of all the wonderful benefits that music will bring into our lives. Well, probably the best way for people to keep up to date on what my latest projects are is for them to sign up for my mailing list. But they can go to LynnTredeau.com, and that's LynnTredeau.com. And you can go there, sign up for my mailing list. That'll keep you current on concerts and everything else that's going on. And right now, I'm just putting the finishing steps on my 4th album entitled Shifting Sands, and we're hoping to have that out in release at the end of May.